Hey everyone, welcome back to BookShortz, the channel where we turn powerful books into short, life-changing insights. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a breakthrough book summary that could shift your mindset, your habits, or even your relationships. Today, we're diving into a game-changing book that could literally transform the way you communicate forever. The Next Conversation by Jefferson Fisher. What if I told you that one, better conversation could improve your relationships, calm your conflicts, and even boost your career? What if the next thing you say could unlock understanding instead of tension? Jefferson Fisher isn't your average communication coach. He's a seasoned trial lawyer who's cracked the code on how to stay calm, clear, and in control, even when everything around you is heated. And in this book, he hands you the exact tools to master any conversation, especially the hard ones. Stick around because what you're about to hear isn't just a summary. It's a blueprint for how to speak so people actually listen and how to listen so people actually speak. Let's get into it. What if the way you've been having conversations is the very thing sabotaging your relationship's career and peace of mind? What if the next conversation you have could change everything? Jefferson Fisher doesn't just believe this. He's made it his mission to prove it. In the next conversation, Fisher gives us a revolutionary yet deeply practical guide to communicating, with clarity, confidence, and calm, even in the most tense, emotional, or high-stakes situations. This book isn't another empty guide about being a better listener or staying calm. It's about rewiring your communication at its core. Fisher, a trial lawyer with over 15 years of experience battling in courtrooms, discovered that the real battleground isn't the argument, it's the emotion underneath. And most people are losing that battle every single day. Whether you're arguing with your spouse, dodging political debates at the dinner table, or just trying to be heard at work, this book is your playbook to win, not by overpowering others, but by empowering yourself. Fisher's core message is deceptively simple but deeply powerful. You can't control others. You can only control yourself. And once you realize that everything about your communication will change, you'll stop reacting and start responding. You'll stop aiming to win and start aiming to connect. You'll stop talking just to be right and start talking to be understood. At the heart of the next conversation is the idea of emotional discipline. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about knowing your triggers, managing your reactions, and intentionally guiding your conversations toward connection rather than conflict. As Fisher puts it, the calmest person in the room controls the room. If that's not you right now, this book will teach you how to get there. Fisher breaks the book into 3 transformative sections: reset, rewire, and resolve. Each section builds on the last, taking you deeper into the mindset and methods that will allow you to have better conversations in every area of your life. Reset. Pause before you speak. The first step Fisher teaches is to reset. This is about recognizing that you're emotionally flooded before you lash out or shut down. How often do we speak from a place of heat instead of thought? Fisher compares this to taking control of a spinning car. You can't steer when you're spinning. You have to regain traction. The same is true emotionally. He introduces a practical tool he calls the 5-second pause. It's simple, but powerful. Before you respond, especially in heated moments, pause and breathe for 5 seconds. That space can be the difference between saying something damaging and saying something connecting. It may sound trivial, but this is the groundwork for all emotional discipline. Pausing gives you the power to choose your response instead of being dragged by your reaction. Fisher also urges us to let go of the myth of instant resolution. Some conversations don't need to end in agreement. They just need to end in respect. That shift alone resets the pressure and changes your whole approach. You're not trying to dominate or convert. You're trying to relate, rewire. Shift from reacting to responding, once you've mastered the pause. It's time to rewire how you think about communication. Here, Fisher dives deep into the power of intention. What do you want out of this conversation? Is it to win, prove a point, or be heard? Or is it to build connection, mutual understanding, and trust? Your intention shapes your tone, and tone shapes outcomes. One of the most powerful tools Fisher teaches in this section is the mirror. Before a conversation, ask yourself, what do I look like to them? If you come in hot, accusatory, or closed, off you're going to trigger defensiveness no matter what you say. But if you show up open, calm, and curious, you're more likely to invite the same energy in return. Fisher explains how we often go into conversations like lawyers preparing to argue our case. But the truth is, people don't change their minds when they're cornered. They change when they feel seen and safe. That means your number one job in a tough conversation isn't to prove your point. It's to hold space. He also gives us practical phrases to reframe tense moments. Instead of saying you might say, I've noticed. Instead of you don't care, you might say, I feel unheard when these aren't just softer words, they're smarter strategies. They lower defenses and open doors. Another key concept Fisher explores is emotional hooks. These are the triggers that send us into defensive or aggressive patterns. Maybe it's a certain tone of voice, a phrase, or even a facial expression. Once you identify your hooks, you can start to disarm them. This is how you move from reaction to intention, from drama to clarity. Resolve. Create lasting change in the final section. Fisher turns to resolution. This doesn't mean always getting your way. It means walking away from conversations feeling respected and clear, even if disagreement remains. He emphasizes that success is not about closure, it's about clarity. Fisher introduces the concept of conversation currency. Every interaction is either a deposit or a withdrawal in your relationship account. Are you leaving people feeling heard, valued, and seen? Or are you overdrafting through criticism, blame, or withdrawal? The more positive emotional currency you deposit, the more resilient your relationships become. He also dives into setting boundaries with grace. Boundaries aren't about walls, they're about clarity. And the key is to state them early and kindly, not after you've hit your breaking point. For example, instead of saying, you need to stop calling me so late, you could say, I turn off my phone after 9 to get good rest, but I'd love to catch up earlier in the evening. It's firm, yet kind, and incredibly effective. Another powerful part of this section is how Fisher helps us navigate emotionally charged topics like politics, family trauma, or workplace tension. He encourages curiosity over control. Questions like, what led you to that view? Or, tell me more about how that experience shaped you. Open hearts, not just minds. He also gives guidance on the conversations we avoid, the next conversation we know we need to have, but keep putting off. Whether it's apologizing, owning a mistake, or confronting a hard truth, these conversations don't go away. They grow heavier. Fisher teaches us how to approach them with courage and compassion, and how to begin even if we're scared. And perhaps most meaningfully, Fisher leaves us with the reminder that not every conversation is about others. Sometimes the most important next conversation is with yourself. Are you honest with your needs, boundaries, and values? Are you speaking with the same kindness to yourself that you offer others? Because inner clarity fuels outer communication. New conversation for a new life. The next conversation isn't just a communication guide, it's a life guide. It invites us to imagine what our lives would look like if we could speak without fear, listen without judgment, and connect without control. Jefferson Fisher doesn't offer perfection, but he offers possibility. He gives you tools that work, whether you're talking to your spouse, your boss, your kids, or your political opposite. This book doesn't promise that every conversation will go well, but it does promise that you'll show up to each one more equipped, more grounded, and more intentional. And that changes everything. Because when you master the next conversation, you don't just change how you talk, you change how you live. If you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling misunderstood, unseen, or ashamed, this book is your second chance. If you've ever felt like the loudest voice in the room wins, Fisher reminds you that calm is more powerful than chaos. If you've ever wondered how to speak so people actually listen, and how to listen so people actually speak, this is your roadmap. The next conversation is more than a book. It's an invitation to slow down, breathe, and show up as your best self. Because in the end, every meaningful change in your life starts with one thing: a better conversation. If you want to listen full audiobook for free, link in description.